Story 1. Alpha. I have a buddy who said the other day that if you learn to bow hunt, that is peak alpha energy. I cannot look at him the same. Story 2. I just speak the truth. If you do not like me for it, that is your problem. Story 3. I can't believe you're going to let this get in the way of friendship, family, or a relationship. Story 4. Why don't you respect me, or respect your elders? By default, I respect people. If they don't acknowledge my respect, it is because they see respect as bending over backwards to please them. Absolutely not. Story 5. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Story 6. Saying I am blunt, I am just brutally honest, or I tell it like it is does not mean you are brutally honest. It means you just like to be brutal. Story 7. People often ask excitedly, did you kill anybody while you were in? I am a 100% disabled veteran. A large chunk of that disability is for mental health issues caused by my service. I immediately dislike anyone who asks such an offensive question. I was a medic. I did not join to kill. Even if I had been infantry, why would you ask that? Who would ask that? Story 8. Referring to themselves as having obsessive-compulsive disorder for something like cleanliness or color coding. Story 9. If you cannot handle me at my worst, you are basically saying that I should expect you to be a shitty person. Story 10. One day I was on the maintenance team at Walmart. Our store manager was very disrespectful toward everyone under her. That day she called maintenance to the frozen aisle for a spill and added, and don't keep me waiting. Every lead with a radio heard it. The three of us on maintenance heard it too. I grabbed my radio and, after about 6 seconds, responded, this is maintenance. I'm on my way. There was total silence. None of us on maintenance were slow. Each of us could reach any side of the store in roughly 3 to 6 minutes depending on our tasks. All the leads knew this, so we rarely had problems. The store manager had transferred to our store 2 months earlier and immediately began disrespecting everyone beneath her. I grabbed my cart and headed for the freezer, timing myself on my phone. Took about 3 minutes and some change. I turned the corner and there she was, standing over spilled frozen peas. I hadn't even finished entering the aisle before she began mouthing off about how long it takes us to clean up spills and that she shouldn't have had to wait this long. I reminded her that it had only been 3.5 minutes since she called. She said, well, then you need to be faster. I replied calmly that the only way that could happen was if we were literally in the next aisle over. We went back and forth a few more times. I never raised my voice. She raised hers. Then she said, look here, I don't need this back talk. You need to respect me. To this day, I don't know why, but that sent me over the edge. I felt my blood boil, my face flush, and my body shake with anger. I don't remember what I said, but I blew up at her. Within a week, I found my current job and left the store. Summary. Don't disrespect someone and then demand respect in return. Story 11. Sheeple is used by people who try to stand out as independent thinkers but are often not very intelligent and do not think things through. I have never heard an intelligent person use the term. It is usually used by conspiracy theorists. Story 12. People are always yelling at me. Put your hands behind your back. I hate that. Story 13. The phrase, I have a dark sense of humor, often comes across as racist. A dark sense of humor, for me, is joking that I killed my husband by turning off his machines. It makes people very uncomfortable, especially since it is true. Story 14. The phrase, as a good Christian, should be an assertion of good works and intentions, but now it is just regressive and prejudicial. My parents were good Christians, not good Christians. They loved their neighbors, helped the needy, and welcomed their children's gay friends as extensions of the family. They would be appalled at what good Christian has evolved into. Story 15. Saying that study is biased without explanation. I hate when people ask for evidence of a claim, are given the evidence, and, without reading or critiquing it, simply reject it. What do these idiots want? God himself to come down and confirm that it is accurate? Story 16. I was out to dinner with a few couples who are friends or friends of my wife. It was a nice place and we were all enjoying the evening. Then one of the women used a racial slur, the N-word with the hard R. I could not leave, so I sat silently for the next hour and did not acknowledge her or say goodbye. I had never met this person. We were all there enjoying the evening and paying a lot, and she felt comfortable enough to say that. It was disgraceful. Story 17. Who cares? If I throw trash outside, someone will pick it up. It is their job. That rubs me the wrong way every time. Story 18. Any phrases such as real man or be a man that define or judge masculinity. Story 19. Words such as unilive and grape are used to evade moderation. I understand people do this to get around censorship, but often there is no censor. Started on TikTok, so why is it happening everywhere? This minimizes truly horrible acts and makes it hard to tell when something should be taken seriously. Suicide, murder, and rape are very serious. Using preschool language makes these crimes seem trivial. Story 20. Saying I've said sorry so many times or I already apologized does not give you the right to decide when someone forgives you. Story 21. For all intents and purposes. Story 22. Everyone who does not like me is just jealous. Sometimes people do not like you because you are a bad person. It does not matter how successful you think you are. Story 23. You know what I'm saying? After every third word, yes, I get it. You asked me 15 times in 4 sentences. Story 24. Did you hear what happened in the United States? Yes, I have. Please stop talking about it. I'm trying to stay sane. Story 25. How does this affect you personally? My mother actually said that when I was expressing how upset I felt about family separations at the border. I do not need to be punched in the face to know it will be painful. And if I want to live in a peaceful place, I need neighbors who feel safe and respected. Story 26. When someone uses the fact that they pay taxes to bully or belittle people who work in public services, I pay your salary. No, you do not. You pay taxes to the government, which redistributes the funds for the public interest, and the government pays my salary. If paying taxes made you my boss, then I would be my own boss because I pay taxes too. Story 27. Someone actually said to me, consent is overrated. Story 28. I did my research. Where is your lab, Barbara? Where are your peer reviews? Where are you published? Story 29. Both sides are at fault. No, one side may be feckless, but the other is actively burning the house down. Story 30. I am not racist, but you are about to say something very racist, and I do not want to hear it. Story 31. People who call things they dislike woke or gay to insult them. Story 32. I am keeping it real. I am speaking my truth. I am an alpha male. Story 33. No, I do not. Some opinions, believe it or not, are dog shit. You must respect the person behind an opinion. They deserve respect, safety, and humanity, even when their views conflict with yours. However, opinions rooted in hatred, disrespect, or a desire to cause harm do not deserve respect simply because a human expresses them. Hitler believed we should kill Jewish people. Do you respect that? Would you tell his victims to respect his views? Sounds stupid, doesn't it? Opinions can be wrong. Story 34. My truth. Delusion and entitlement do not make for good companions. Story 35. Only God can judge me. I have never heard a good person say that, not once. Story 36. My truth. You mean your opinion. If it were true, it would be the truth. Story 37. I was the best mother or father. I do not know why my children do not want anything to do with me. Story 38. You have to respect people's beliefs. No, I don't. I respect people's right to hold their beliefs. The beliefs themselves are not inherently entitled to respect. Story 39. At a workplace, the boss says we are a great family. Okay, Dad, can I borrow your car tonight? Story 40. Using the R word is unnecessary. There is no reason to use it. It is derogatory. I do not care if you are using it as slang. There are 1,000 other words that would make your point better. Story 41. Groovy frame, detail, straight crowd, plants, gold, hurry, plate, towering. Story 42. I can't believe they did not say anything about a trending social or political issue yet. Let's boycott. Meanwhile, they are lying in bed doing nothing but demanding action from others. News flash. Horrible things are happening everywhere. You are not special for advocating for one of them, especially when it is trendy. Many of these issues already existed, but most people did not even know about them or care before. Hope this helps is a standard, annoying, self-righteous phrase. Story 43. The phrase that doesn't affect me directly is a disgusting dodge I've heard for the past 10 years. Story 44. Anyone who unironically uses the phrase hard times make hard men make soft times is nonsense. Humanity is a story of regular people rising to meet the challenges of their time, regardless of what came before or how soft they are. Story 45. Anyone who talks about giving more than 100% just infuriates me for some reason. Story 46. When someone unironically calls themselves a baddie, gross. Story 47. When someone uses the phrases victim complex or victim mentality, it shows a clear lack of understanding of what trauma does to a person. Story 48. Any rhetoric coming from Make America Great Again is unacceptable. Story 49. I voted for Donald Trump. The stupidity infuriates me. Story 50. I have a Doctor of Philosophy degree. Good for you if you do, but if you cannot win an argument without pointing that out, you are being difficult. Story 51. Grown adults text like preteens. They use emojis, omit punctuation, overuse shorthand, and display a complete lack of capital letters. Story 52. Supposedly. If you cannot pronounce supposedly correctly, I cannot take you seriously. Story 53. Making fun of someone for getting emotional is sadly very common among teachers. I have often stood awkwardly in groups that made fun of children who were crying. Story 54. Calling people woke. Can't stand not all heroes wear capes. Amazeballs. Fake news. Story 55. I say I just tell it like it is, or I am just brutally honest as a way to bark at others and cover up my own insecurities. Story 56. Anytime someone says I am a Christian to gain my trust, run. Story 57. It's God's plan. Sigh. A stranger attempted and almost succeeded in killing my son. What a dickish plan. Story 58. Woke. Judging someone by a single syllable and calling them mediocre or lazy for blaming external factors is unfair. Story 59. You will not find anyone like me. Manipulative and just like good. I do not want to find anyone like you. Story 60. When a colleague asks, do you remember when we discussed that? I reply, F you. I didn't forget because I am old or have Alzheimer's. I forgot because I am completely overwhelmed at work and have way too much to do. Story 61. Don't tread on me. I see that and immediately think you have a room temperature intelligence quotient in Celsius. Story 62. When someone says whatever, it sounds immature to me. It is hard to take them seriously afterward. Story 63. Lately people say, I'm not anti-immigrant. I just want them to do it the right way. 1. You clearly are anti-immigrant. 2. You have no idea what you are talking about or what the process actually is. You assume it is simple without looking into it. 3. This is usually said by a racist specifically targeting non-white immigrants. 4. Often said by someone who just voted for a candidate whose campaign slogan was mass deportation now. 5. Often said by someone who does not understand the difference between immigrants and refugees or asylum seekers, who are following the right process simply by presenting themselves. 6. Often said by someone whose own ancestors were immigrants, probably before there was any notion of a right way, they just showed up. 7. Often said by people who justify it by saying America is full. Take a road trip through the Mountain West and see how people actually live. 8. The person is generally either unaware because they only consume right-wing media or no news at all, or deliberately avoiding the fact that many people currently being detained by immigration and customs enforcement are following the legal process by showing up to their court hearings. Immigration and customs enforcement agents are detaining people outside courtrooms and sending them to for-profit immigration detention centers. My mother often says this. She thinks it sounds reasonable, but she has no idea what she is talking about and is just racist. She probably would not bat an eye if the person who did not do it the right way came from Western Europe. She also has absolute reverence for her grandmother, who immigrated from Europe, arriving with nothing because she was poor and seeking a better life. That is like most of today's immigrants, who are suddenly a big problem even though the economy benefits greatly from their labor and tax dollars. Story 64. Someone I know referred to their coworkers as underlings very casually. They are not a business owner, which would not make it any better, though it might make the question "what the fuck is wrong with you" more approachable. Any respect, which was hanging by a thread and had mostly deteriorated the more I heard them talk, just went fucking poof. Story 65. If they claim to be brutally honest, it usually means they are an asshole who makes excuses for their poor behavior. Story 66. Boys will be boys is used to excuse oneself from the need to discipline an unruly child. Sometimes people use the phrase to laugh at the actions of children, but if you use it as a shield to avoid discipline, I will not respect you. Story 67. There is a chain of command and you do not go above it at all. When dealing with managers in a toxic working environment, they say that to protect their own position, they will bury whatever issue you have and spin your words to make you appear to be the problem. Story 68. I did it because I was angry. That's what little children do. Story 69. You got this, mama. Holding my little ones close tonight. My husband. Story 70. I'm not here to make friends. It's like they're advertising that they don't value basic human decency. Story 71. When they say female to refer to their mother or when they use the word without describing a suspect. Story 72. Any phrase or ideology related to make America great again is unacceptable. I can work with those people in a professional setting, but they will never be allowed into my inner circle. Story 73. My mom's boyfriend yelled at me yesterday for not locking the door. I was just about to leave. How can I lock it when I am walking to it? He is old-fashioned, by the way. He thinks that yelling at kids will make them respect him. Fuck him. He smokes Newports, so he is already suffering. Story 74. I'm sorry I offended anyone by saying something incredibly offensive. Story 75. Anyone who brings up the word woke in a conversation to identify something they don't like. Story 76. The word unalived is inappropriate. Get the fuck out. Say what you mean, and stop trivializing people's deaths. Story 77. Anyone who uses woke, politically correct, social justice warrior, and similar terms as insults is trash. Second place goes to using other buzzwords or phrases like non-player character, blue hair, cuckold, and virtue signaling. I realize that some people use these terms simply because they have become popular, but it still makes me lose respect for someone if they do not think about where their language comes from. Story 78. I'm brutally honest. No, you're just an asshole who uses honesty as an excuse to be mean. Story 79. My truth. Dude, it's either the truth or it's your opinion. Story 80. Boys will be boys is used instead of correcting bad behavior, and it is not just used for children. I have seen people use it with regard to fully grown adults. I have not read a book since high school. What does that mean? I am not listening to the professionals. I did my own research. So you did peer-reviewed research showing vaccines cause autism? No, you checked Facebook. Vaccines do not cause autism. Story 81. Thoughts and prayers. Say or do something useful or say or do nothing. Story 82. When people are referred to as objects, it does not feel right. A boss once told me I had to select workers with the proper pedigree, and that felt wrong. Story 83. Use the word female in reference to women, not as an adjective. For example, do not use female officer. Use female as a noun, for example, will there be females there? It is involuntary, but I instantly see that person as a Ferengi. Story 84. Life's not fair. It really grinds my gears whenever I hear that. Story 85. In the United States, calling people illegals shows that you do not see brown and black people as humans. Story 86. Getting reminded to call someone doctor or professor, whatever. I'm not gonna make you call me captain. That's obnoxious. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.